So different to my other videos, this time this video doesn't actually have a script. It's really just about what I'm thinking on top of my head after my trip to the Glasgow Grand Open. I'm Ayumuseki and welcome to my seminar. Today we're doing a little bit something special, which is like just my own self-reflection on the Glasgow Grand Open for Battle Spirit Saga. Well, I decided to do this because I don't really know what kind of other videos I want to do, but I still need the viewership. You get the gist. But also I suppose it's just like more of a chance of talking to myself on like what I could have done better from the Grand Open, because as you've probably seen from the title, totally not my idea, by the way. I literally dropped out of top 16, and it's obviously like it hasn't happened to me before, even though like it's only been like I only participated in like 4 tournaments by now, at least in Saga. Like I've never been a competitive player until I start playing Battle Spirit Saga, so it's a very new thing to me, and there were a lot of emotions that I kind of experienced which I've never had before. So to make a summary, in the launch event I got 15th place, and then in the Germany Grand Open in Karlsruhe, as you all probably know, I got 1st place, and then the one in Amsterdam I got 4th place, well 3rd or 4th, like top 4. But this time in Glasgow Grand Open, it's very surprising to myself and my friends as well. I actually got 32nd, like literally bang on 32nd. I literally only won over the other rankings through the smaller points. So like I suppose the luck was there. But and then it's like it's also kind of felt a bit embarrassed, not because I dropped from the ranking. Like I understand these things happen all the time. Like you can't just be an overall winner every time. But like I feel embarrassed because I kind of threw a tantrum after the results. Like, kind of I blame everything on Cursed Dragon breaking my hand. Like, hence kind of my temporary title, Cursed Dragon Hater, in the Discord servers. But at the end, it's really about my playing skills and my deck building skills. Like, I predicted what the meta was going to be, but I brought the wrong cards, essentially. We'll get back to all this later, but I wanna talk about the overall experience because I'm aware, I mean, Battle Spirit Saga contents, we don't have a lot out there anyway, and there were even less contents on like talking about the experience of going to a Grand Open. I'm very surprised that like this time is actually pretty entertaining, let's call it that way, especially since like for the Glasgow Grand Open it was being held in like a kind of like a TCG expo, so there were also like other card games there were also other sellers there, just like selling different merchandises. I was actually very surprised that there was someone who was selling a limited version of some sleeves from the Japanese Battle Spirits, and it only cost me £15. So when that sleeve usually would cost at least £20 because it's limited, and it was also a very popular one as well. So I was like, I'm spending £50 on this, like, and no one is stopping me, and obviously I did. But like, it was even more amazing is that I actually got a Giganorex for only £2.60 and also a Deadly Balance for only £10. I already stopped myself from buying more because there was so many other pretty stuff, like obviously Pokemon TCG was there, they had a lot of sleeves, and I really love a lot of those sleeves. Like Pokemon artworks in general are just like marvelous, and like I've been liking them ever since I was a child. So there is that, and then obviously as like the others always love to say, I've met all my homies. Just gonna have a shout out to Marv, Harry, Emiliano, Sorry, I haven't mentioned you. I just can't remember on top of my head. Hello, Josh. And but they're just like, and Aaron. Yeah, just it's what I mean is that like, oh, I like actually got to meet like a lot of the others who also has still been playing the game and kind of sticking to it quite tightly. Like, obviously we're in the same group chat, and I always see them just like talk about things, and then just like having like deck tests all the time, and like we're just like sharing ideas and stuff like that. So it's just like, in general, it's just really nice to kind of see everyone appearing in the events again, because it simply shows to me, like, oh, the others are still playing the game. Like, it's the same bunch of people, so like nothing has changed, like no one has dropped the game yet, like stuff like that. But like, obviously it gets a little bit awkward when you kind of know too many people, because like it will came to the case where like in like basically every round you're gonna be like facing someone, and then like they just like to call it like friend battle, and like it's the worst thing you ever had, because like if you win, you just kind of feel bad that like you're kicking them down. And like and it was especially funny for me because in the first round I faced Aaron, who, just to give a bit of information, he won an online tournament once with white aggro, and he also got into top 8 in Amsterdam Grand Open with white aggro as well. And unfortunately for him, like that time, his first round in the top cut was also against me, and and like and then this time, first round, he was against me again. But instead of white aggro, he brought purple axe biter, or just axe biter in general. I can't remember if I saw any purple cards in this list. I probably did. I mean, probably Netherworld was in there, but needless to say, I was pretty surprised, not because of the deck he uses, like purple axe biter. I expected it. I literally made kind of an overall deck ratio for the Glasgow Grand Open, and axe biter has like 17 decks out of like 76. It's not surprising. But I was surprised on how he was stuck to kind of his aggressive playstyle, even with purple axe biter. Like, there were a lot of moments when I thought that, I'll be fine, he's not going to attack. He attacked, and I actually lost from that. But at least for game 1, like game 2 and game 3, I caught back up and managed to warn him over 2-1. So there was that, and it was a very fun game. Like, he has shown me some different playstyles that like kind of the other purple axe biter players haven't really shown. I haven't really seen. So yeah, so there was that, and I haven't mentioned yet, obviously I've brought my purple control deck. Yeah, this time it's actually control, it's not even mid-range, because I put the freaking Cursed Dragon combo into the main deck. Did it really work out for me? Like, at that time, I wouldn't say so, because I suppose one thing is that like it doesn't really fit my playstyle. Like now that in hindsight, there were a lot of times when I was kind of too impatient with the game flow. Like there were times when I shouldn't have attacked, but I did. Like I gained a temporary advantage there, like taking 1 life, stuff like that. But like at the end, like that actually hurt the game, because I had 1 less blocker, they had 1 more core, etc., stuff like that. And also just like I should have waited for the Cursed Dragon combo to be in my hand first, but instead I was still trying to kind of put for mid-range tactic in. Then it ended up like with the game progressing too fast, and like it all ended before I could even get my combo, which was probably the main reason why it actually break in my hand. It didn't really break in my hand, it's more of I didn't wait for it, so I gave myself too little time to actually do the combo and everything. But obviously at that time, again, I kind of threw a tantrum, just blaming everything on Cursed Dragon, and I kind of felt bad for that, especially like with how the others also listened to me just ranting the whole day. And sorry, I guess. Second round, I think it was second round, yes, I faced Russell with his, I call it green Norman guard, and that was like everything just went downhill from there. because like even though so like game 1 I lost because I actually haven't practiced against any green decks, because like no one in my locals has played any green decks, and like we generally just lacking some of the cards like the Scope Owl. So like we couldn't really build a perfect green deck anyway, well at least not for like competitive level, let's call it that way. So like I have very little experiences against green, and I lost to him in game 1. Game 2 I made a misplay because I miscalculated the amount of cores I could use. So what happened was that in that scenario, he only had Norman God and Worker Ant-Man on board, and he was attacking with Worker Ant-Man. At that moment, I would have guessed that he's trying to push for my Ice Shield, especially since he was still in a safe zone. I didn't really have that many cores to use, and only like a Dragonaga Assassin on board, maybe with a Watching Swarm, I can't remember to be fair. At that moment, I had 2 core fetch in hand, and my plan was to destroy both Worker Ant-Man and Norman God so that he wouldn't have enough cores to use even for switch next turn. But I thought I was going to use both core fetch in that turn, but after I used one on Worker Ant-Man, I realized I didn't have enough cores to use the second one, and so it just attacked with Norman God and it just refreshed all its cores anyway, and then I wasted my core fetch basically. And like that's what lost me the game, because like what I could have done instead was allow him to attack with Worker Ant-Man, take the life, wait for him to attack with Norman God, and then just use core fetch to put Norman God down to 1 core instead of like destroying it, so that he can refresh his cores and he has no blockers. And then next turn I can use core fetch on Worker Ant-Man to remove 2 more cores so he wouldn't be able to do anything. But you know, obviously because of the miscalculation, I couldn't do that, and that's how I lost game 2 as well. And like for me, misplays are kind of like the biggest deal for me. Like, you know, I make one misplay and then like my mind would just spiral down the thoughts of like, oh, this is gonna cost me the whole tournament, because you know, like basically you win the game, the opponents you face later on will be different. Like same with like after you lose the game. So like I have been on the constant thought of like, if I had won the round, which opponent will I have faced? Will I have a better day? And this kind of got worse, especially since in game 3 I faced Purple X-Fighter again, and like that one I literally lost because of how unlucky I was. Game 1 I pushed my opponent down to 1 life, but I could never see my Maduke. And then in game 2, Backless simply breaking my hand. I could never see Curse Dragon. Like literally it was another case of like, if I saw the combo, I could have at least done something, but like I couldn't. But like I got my Maduke out, but he got 2 X-Fighters, so he could lower swing me, so I could never use the Blood Curse. I couldn't see any of my Camelot Knights, so like I couldn't like just like charge at him at like 2k Blood Curse as well, and that's like how I lost my 3rd game. And by that point, like I knew I couldn't get in the top 8, but like, you know, at least trying to maintain in top 16. Like I didn't really have anything to lose that day because I already got my Pro Tour invite in Amsterdam. But you know, it's just like, it's about dignity. Like I was very dedicated to like keep myself within top 16, so like I don't really break my record of like being constant in top 16, you know. But then round 4 I faced a Purple Mirror and I won that game, because like obviously no offense to my opponents, but like he hasn't played enough of the game, so he didn't really understand his deck that well, and like that's kind of the main reason how I beat him. Like I had to constantly remind him to like activate Netherworld Depths to get his core in core step, etc, stuff like that, and that's how I won that round. And then round 5, actually no, I think that was round 5. So round 4 I believe I was facing Emiliano. Both games it was against purple. Yes, I think both of them were using purple, so I won both rounds I believe. And then well, I can't remember, but like you get the gist. Round 6 or somewhere 4, 5, 6, I mixed them up. I faced my opponent called Eva. I also faced her in the launch event, and this time she was also using Purple X-Fighter again, and oh my lord, especially since like after I check her list, like she just had a god hand. Like game 2, by turn 3 or turn 4, she got 3 Rocket Cities out, And later on I checked her list, she only had 3 rocket cities, so somehow she drew into all 3 of them. And I got 1 netherworld depth in my hand, I could never use it. Especially since I also never see my Burning Force. Again, I lost that one, and then game 7 I won against the Pterosaur deck, and like that's about it, 4-3. Just barely got into 32nd. That's kind of like what I had on that day. As I said, I don't have a script for this one, so it's really just me just blabbering everything. If you ask me if I have fun or not, I mean, I certainly did. I did enjoy playing the games, like even though a lot of them were like pretty unlucky on my side. But like this is how much I love the game. Like I don't mind losing. I mean, obviously on hindsight, at that moment, like anyone would be annoyed, you know, if they have kept losing like every round and stuff like that. But obviously on hindsight, it was fine. As I said, I had nothing to lose in that tournament anyway. I got my £200. I managed to pay for the gas fee. I guess that's good enough. In terms of the meta, well, at that, like I'm recording this after the ban list was announced, but like obviously during that time it was before the ban list. I was kind of barely fine with it, mainly because, you know, I've been playing the Japanese battle spirits, so I've seen worse. So like, you know, when comparing to that, the X-Biter meta wasn't exactly as unfun as it seems to me, because I've always accepted the fact that like in every format, like no matter what game, you would always have a top deck, but obviously it's not over dominating everyone else, because, you know, you also have Pterosaur, you know, which literally won the Glasgow Grand Open. Congratulations, Alex. Also, you got Purple Control kinda being the anti-meta. Yellow and Green, like I said to my friends all the time, and obviously sometimes we did have like arguments slash discussion that like they are lacking because of like the cards that they have, not necessarily because of the other colors being too strong. It's actually because they're being too weak, if you get what I mean. So to be fair, unlike most of the other people, I didn't really step into the tournament thinking, oh, I'm freaking Purple X-Biter again, oh, you know, like not that kind of feeling. It's like I was ready to beat it, to kind of counter it. Like I've been doing my playtest all the time against Purple X-Biter, so I was literally catering my deck to deal with X-Biter. That was also partly why I was very surprised when I was constantly losing to X-Biter. Again, in some games it was because of my luck, but then in the other ones it was like I realized kind of some of the strategies that I prepared didn't actually work. Basically there were some scenarios that I didn't expect and things like that. It was very funny because I did expect people to start bringing in Enterprise again, because, you know, with that many X-Biter lists, like the X-Biter players would have expected more mirror games. So you would need the white armor sometimes from Enterprise to protect your field. And because of that, especially the purple players, bringing back the Cursed Dragon combo again to deal with that. For the X-Biter players, in order to protect from the Cursed Dragons, they will start putting Fuller in the list again, like, you know, not the main list, but like, you know, maybe in the side deck. That was exactly what I predicted, like especially like against Eva. I've seen her Enterprise, I think, I can't remember, but I've seen her Fuller, and then I sided in the wrong cards, and also I just kind of play everything wrongly, I guess, so like none of that worked out. So yeah, I think at least for me, I didn't manage to win anything, not exactly because like the meta is broken or anything. I mean, obviously I'm a purple player, I use netherworld depths. If you think I'm biased, sure, go ahead, I don't really mind. But like what I mean is that like, just like from the feeling, like many of these games I lost not because they had netherworld depth. I could deal with that fine. The problem is actually Rocket City, which like I think in like 1 or 2 games I did see them. Obviously, as I said, in the game with Eva, she literally put out like 3 Rocket Cities. And then but I think also in another one they also had a Walker City else thing, something like that, and that was actually what's damaging my deck, because I couldn't draw into any resources. So like that's I was forced to play really slow. This was just my thought when I walk into the tournament. It doesn't necessarily mean I'm against the ban list right now. Obviously, after the ban list, I did some post-ban list testing. All the games did run a lot smoother without X-Fighter, I suppose without Netherworld as well, but also as a purple player, that did damage my deck a little bit because all the purple Nessuses right now, they're kind of like the secondary Nessus in your deck. So basically it's like in terms of priority, like when Netherworld is still around, like your priority would be putting down Netherworld depths first, and then if you have the cost, then okay, maybe Smoke Valley, maybe Rotting Swamp. But then because now that Netherworld depth is gone, I'm forced to rely on kind of the more lackluster Nessuses right now, and that actually caused the deck, the color in general, to be a lot more vulnerable, so to say, to aggro decks, I guess. I mean, I suppose that was the point. I mean, or else like there's no point banning Netherworld depths. But like I'm just saying, like kind of these are the effects that I felt from the ban list. And unfortunately, I had to stick to Cursed Dragon for a longer while, I guess. I test like a variant still without Cursed Dragon, just Nemesis and Maduke. Didn't work out. I actually need Cursed Dragon to do a board wipe. So as I said in the chat before, it's like I'm an unsatisfied wife married to Cursed Dragon, but I can never get a divorce. Like it's kind of like the same situation. Back to the Grand Open. These are kind of things that I have learned, I've experienced, so to say. And what could I have done better? I don't really know. Actually, one thing is that I have to test against a lot more other people, because I think one reason I built the wrong deck, because I've only faced 3 players in my locals for like my whole playtesting segment, and so like my deck is extremely catered to their playstyles, but then I haven't really thought about how the other players would play the game. It led to me kind of a little bit of panicking, a little bit of struggling when I face someone with a playstyle strategy which I've never expected. For sure, definitely I had to do a lot more playtesting with like some other players. Besides that, I think I've still read the meta pretty well, so I'm not too worried on that. So right now it's really more about tuning my own deck to the finest. So yeah, I was going to talk about some deck lists which I think was very interesting from like the 76 lists I've seen, but it's almost been half an hour like since I made this recording, as in like the length of this recording, so I think I'll stop here first. But like if you guys are interested in me reviewing any deck list from Glasgow, just tell me in the comments below, you know, the usual stuff. Kind of help me out with the algorithm a little bit, please. But yeah, so this will be the end. This is Ayumu Seiki, and I'll see you in the next seminar.